Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the EdTech at EPISD podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Instructional Technology, a division of the Active Learning Department. In this episode, we will be talking about system preferences. System preferences can be accessed from 3 different locations: the Apple menu, the System Preferences icon, and from Spotlight. We will be having a podcast specifically on how to find your stuff, which will include Spotlight. Let us go ahead and open System Preferences by clicking on the Apple menu and then clicking on System Preferences. Opening System Preferences on your MacBook Air can seem as overwhelming as when you do it on your Windows device, but I feel that it's a lot simpler to personalize settings on a Mac. Let's begin by clicking on the General icon. macOS Mojave has now incorporated dark mode, and your tech specialist might have asked you which of the 2 modes you wanted when they were setting up your computer. The General settings is where you can switch between light and dark mode. Dark mode is great if you're working in areas with low light or you don't want to wake those around you. We do want to caution you on trying to teach in dark mode. Unless you have a high-end state-of-the-art digital projector, dark mode will be very hard for your students to see. You can use dark mode for your personal view, but when displaying your MacBook Air to your students, we highly recommend to stay in light mode. You will also notice that there are many options to personalize your screen. Make sure you keep your students in mind when making these changes. Towards the bottom of the screen, you see your default browser setting and your recent items number. As you can see, my default browser is Safari, and we will talk to you about the benefits in using Safari. But we do highly recommend that you use Chrome for your EPISD websites like Teams or Employee Service Center and Eduphoria. You might even want to use it for eStudio for those of you in the Active Learning Framework, because most of their documents are stored on Google Drive. Office 365 and Schoology work well in either browsers. We will show you the benefits of using Safari when finding and creating content for your students in another episode. Let's get back to the All settings by clicking on this waffle-looking button. It's the Show All button, which takes us back to all of our settings. There are many settings on this first row. You can personalize your desktop image and screensaver. You can also personalize your dock and notifications. Because your device is managed, you will find that some of these settings are secured by admin access, and you might be able to open them, but you won't be able to change anything. Some of the settings are grayed out, thus making them inaccessible. Let's look at the second row of settings. The first option you see is called Displays. You will remember that we covered display settings in episode 1, but we did it through the Apple menu. If you click on the Displays icon, you will be taken to Display Preferences. Go back and check out episode 1 if you wish to learn more about that setting. Next to that is Energy Saver. This feature is currently locked by Technology Services. We have already placed the Send Us ticket, and they are reviewing our request to unlock this. Energy Saver is the place where teachers can adjust the time their computer screen turns off and goes into sleep mode. It is currently set to 10 minutes, and if you are displaying something on the screen that students need to work on, 10 minutes might not be enough. Let's go ahead and click on Keyboard to personalize those settings. In Keyboard, we recommend that you check off the first 3 boxes. The first box will adjust your keyboard brightness in low light. Your keyboard has a sensor that will turn up the keyboard brightness when the room goes dark. You can also adjust the keyboard brightness by using the F5 and F6 keys on your keyboard. The second box will turn off the keyboard light after 5 seconds of inactivity. You can adjust the time to as high as 5 minutes, but know that this is an energy saver feature that is important when you're running on just the battery. The last box will display the keyboard and emoji viewer in the menu bar. You can find it on the top right area. If you're needing special symbols for math or for a foreign language like Spanish, French, German, and Chinese Mandarin, just to name a few, then you will click on this icon and select the Show Emoji and Symbols. Know that you can add and remove different symbol categories, and all you have to do is double click on the symbol you need and it will add it wherever your cursor is on your document. You can use this on any app where you can type to include Microsoft Office apps. On a Mac, if you wish to add accented vowels or symbols like the ñ, all you have to do is press down on the key for about 2 to 3 seconds and you will see options with all the variations for that specific key. Now let's click on the Dictation tab. By turning on dictation and checking off the Used Enhanced Dictation box, you will be able to dictate to your device in any language selected. You can click on the language drop down and customize the languages you wish to dictate in. For those of you who have iPads in the classroom, this option is also available on those. Students can use dictation to edit their writing. To activate dictation, you need to be on an app that can type, like Pages, Word, PowerPoint, and even Notes. Once you see your blinking cursor, you tap the Function key twice and the dictation tool will open. Go ahead and begin talking and it will type. To switch languages, you click on the current language and a small window will open to select a different language. Please note that dictation is not a translation tool. You will have to speak in the language selected in order for it to type correctly. If you're dictating in Spanish or any language with words that have accents or special symbols, they will be spelled with them. We will now click on the Show All selector to get back to all the system preferences. We will skip over the mouse settings since those are for the Apple mouse and wireless trackpads. But know that you can add regular wireless mouse and it should work as soon as you plug it in. In some cases, you might have to follow on-screen instructions before you can use your mouse. Don't worry, it's a simple process. Let's take a look at the Trackpad Settings. The first tab is called Point and Click, and the first setting you see is Lookup and Data Detectors. This function will allow you to hover over a word and tap with 3 fingers to see a definition. The first time you do this, you will have to activate the feature by clicking Continue, and then you will see the definition. The secondary click option is what Windows calls the right click. It is preset to clicking with 2 fingers, but you can click the drop-down options and choose click on bottom right or bottom left. The next option on the tab is called Tap to Click. This is very similar to the Windows computers, like the Dell, where all you had to do was tap the trackpad to select something. If you do not check this off, then you will have to press or click to select files and to open programs. Let's take a look at the Scroll and Zoom tab. The first setting is the scrolling direction. It is currently set to scroll in a natural direction. To scroll, you use two fingers and you glide them up and down or side to side on the trackpad. For this feature, if it's selected, when you scroll up, the page goes up, and when you scroll down, the page goes down. This is the most common setting, but you can uncheck it and scroll opposite of your gesture. The next option is zoom in or out. This requires two fingers. The thumb and the index fingers are preferred. If you open those fingers on the trackpad, then you will zoom in. If you close the fingers on the trackpad, you will zoom back out. Keep in mind that this zoom feature only works within the window. We will show you a different zoom feature that allows you to zoom in anywhere on the desktop. Smart Zoom allows you to double tap on the trackpad and do a quick zoom in wherever your cursor is placed on the screen. Once you double tap again, it will zoom out. The rotate function is used when trying to rotate an image within documents, photos, or trying to rotate maps. Maps is also the best place for you to practice your trackpad settings. There are more trackpad settings in the More Gestures tab. We recommend you try them out. Check those you like and uncheck those that you don't. Next to the trackpad settings is the printers and scanners setting. Keep an eye out for this setting in an upcoming episode. On the third row, you see the iCloud settings. Keep an eye out for more information later about your iCloud account. If you want to set up your home internet, you will want to do it from the Wi-Fi icon instead of the internet account settings. The software update option is used to update your computer operating system. We also saw this option in About This Mac in episode 1. If you have a Bluetooth device such as a speaker, you will be able to connect through it by clicking on the Bluetooth settings icon. The last settings we will go over are found in the accessibility icon. There are many settings in accessibility. We will definitely create an entire podcast just for this. But in this episode, we will only talk to you about two of those settings. The first setting we will look at is zoom. There are various settings in this section, but the one we want to focus on is the second option that says use scroll gesture with modifier keys to zoom. By checking off this setting, you will be able to use the control key and scrolling feature to zoom in to any part of your desktop. Many teachers like this preferred zoom feature. It is very important that when you finish using this feature, you go back and unzoom all the way by pressing and holding the control key and scrolling down with two fingers until you can no longer zoom out. The other accessibility feature that we are going to look at is called speech. Speech is already active and it is preset to Alex as the system voice. Alex is considered the most advanced artificial intelligence voice. There are many voices to choose from. All you have to do is click on the system voice drop-down and click on customize or add voices. You will find a long list of voices in many different languages. Remember that this is not a translation tool. If you have English text and you change your voice to Spanish, it will not translate it to Spanish. It will read it in English with a very heavy accent. Speech is also available on the iPads through the accessibility settings. To activate voice on the Macs, all you have to do is highlight the text you wish to be read, and click on Edit in the menu bar. Next, you'll select Speech and click on Start Speaking. You can also do a secondary click on the highlighted text and select Speech and then click on Start Speaking from there. To stop the computer from speaking, you will have to click on Speech again and select Stop Speaking. Speech has many advantages for both students and teachers. We have now come to the end of this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes by searching for the EdTech at EPISD podcast. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time on the EdTech at EPISD podcast.